Let's get right into it. Number 8. A cocktail for two. Imagine your doctor telling you, if you're feeling stressed about the baby, have a martini. You'd switch doctors faster than you can say malpractice lawsuit. But back in the 1950s and 60s, that's exactly what doctors were prescribing. They didn't just suggest it, they actively encouraged it. There were actual medical papers claiming that pregnant women who drank had easier labors and more relaxed babies. Some doctors even recommended a specific cocktail, gin and tonic. The tonic had quinine, which was supposed to prevent leg cramps. The gin was just a bonus to help mom take the edge off. It's like they thought the baby was running a tiny speakeasy in there. If you were feeling nauseous from morning sickness, the recommended cure was more alcohol, specifically warm beer or wine. It's like their medical textbook was written by a bartender. This wasn't just fringe advice. Major medical journals were publishing articles about how a few drinks during pregnancy could help prevent premature labor. Even Queen Elizabeth II's gynecologist recommended that pregnant women drink a small glass of champagne every day to strengthen the baby, because nothing says healthy baby like daily champagne. The craziest part is this advice lasted well into the 1970s. It wasn't until 1973 that doctors finally connected the dots between alcohol and birth defects. That's when they officially recognized fetal alcohol syndrome. Think about that. Your mom or grandma might have been told by their doctor to drink while pregnant, and if they didn't, other women would actually judge them for being too uptight. It was like peer pressure, but with medical degrees backing it up. Number 7. Radioactive Living. 1950s department stores sold radioactive face cream, and people actually bought it. Back then, radioactivity wasn't seen as dangerous. It was the coolest new thing since sliced bread. Companies put radioactive materials in everything. Watches glowed in the dark thanks to radium. Mattresses were filled with radioactive thorium for better sleep. Kids weren't left out either. In 1951, Gilbert released the U-238 Atomic Energy Lab. It was a children's science kit containing actual uranium ore. The kit came with a Geiger counter so kids could measure radiation levels. It was basically my first nuclear reactor. There was this thing called Radathor, radioactive water marketed as a health tonic. The manufacturer claimed it could cure everything from arthritis to impotence. One wealthy industrialist drank 3 bottles a day until his jaw literally fell off. Not kidding, his teeth fell out. Then his entire lower jaw disintegrated. Even after he died, his body was so radioactive they buried him in a lead-lined coffin. There was a face cream called Thoradia. It contained both thorium and radium. The ads promised it would stimulate cellular vitality and give your face a healthy glow. Well, it definitely made faces glow, just not the way people hoped. They even marketed radioactive wool underwear as health underwear. All of this was completely legal. There were no regulations against putting radioactive materials in consumer products. It wasn't until people started dying horrible deaths that anyone thought maybe wearing radioactive underwear wasn't such a great idea. Number 6. The shoe-fitting X-ray. From the 1930s to the 1950s, shoe stores had these wooden cabinets called fluoroscopes. You'd stick your feet inside, and the machine would blast them with X-rays so you could see your skeleton through a viewing window. Kids spent minutes wiggling their toe bones while their parents watched. Store employees demonstrated these machines dozens of times a day, getting blasted with radiation each time. It was seen as cutting-edge technology. These machines were pumping out dangerously high radiation levels. One session could give you more radiation than what we now consider safe for an entire year. People came back whenever they needed new shoes. One shoe model needed her leg amputated from the radiation. The radiation cooked her leg from the inside. The machines weren't even maintained properly. Many had cracks in their shielding, leaking radiation all over the store. Store employees got dosed with radiation all day, especially around their reproductive organs. Scientists figured out standing next to one for a full workday was like getting chest x-rays non-stop for 8 hours. These machines weren't even good at fitting shoes. They showed your bones, but not if the shoes were comfortable. By the 1950s, people realized blasting kids with radiation to sell shoes wasn't the best idea. By then, thousands of machines had been used on millions of people. Next time your grandparents talk about the good old days, remember those days included getting your feet microwaved to buy new kicks. Number 5. Twilight Sleep. Women would wake up to someone handing them a baby, telling them it's theirs, but they had zero memory of giving birth. This happened to countless women in the early 1900s, thanks to something called Twilight Sleep. Doctors injected women with a combo of morphine and scopolamine. The morphine was for pain, Scopolamine doesn't just erase memories, it makes you completely lose control. Women would thrash around, scream, and even try to escape during labor. That's why hospitals had special twilight rooms with padded walls and restraints. They'd tie women to their beds, blindfold them, and stuff cotton in their ears. Some women would wake up with bruises from fighting against the restraints. This was marketed as a luxury service. Rich women would actually demand Twilight Sleep, thinking it was the modern, civilized way to give birth. Magazines called it painless childbirth, but the women were definitely feeling pain. They just couldn't remember it afterward. The babies weren't doing so great. The drugs made them come out drowsy, sometimes barely breathing, and since mom was basically unconscious, she couldn't help push properly. This meant doctors had to use forceps way more often, leading to all kinds of injuries. Some babies didn't make it, and some moms didn't either. But since the ordeal was wiped from their memory, they'd just wake up to either a healthy baby or bad news. The practice finally started dying out in the 1960s, when women decided being conscious for childbirth wasn't such a bad idea. Number 4. The laundry room Maimer. Your sleeve gets caught in the washing machine. Today you hit the emergency stop button. But in your grandparents' day, that sleeve getting caught could mean losing your entire arm. The wringer washer. The most dangerous appliance ever to grace American homes. Think of it like a pasta maker, but instead of flattening dough, it's flattening your clothes and sometimes body parts. These machines had 2 heavy rollers that squeezed water out of wet clothes. But these rollers didn't discriminate between fabric and flesh. Once something got caught, those rollers kept on turning, pulling in more and more. Hospital records from the 1940s and 50s show thousands of cases of wringer injuries, full-on degloving injuries. That's when your skin gets completely pulled off, like a sock being turned inside out. Kids were especially at risk. They'd see the rollers moving and get curious. Next thing you know, little Timmy's trying to explain to the doctor how his hand ended up looking like ground beef. People just accepted this as normal. It was so common that doctors had a special procedure just for wringer injuries. Even after someone got injured, they'd keep using the same machine. They'd just be more careful next time until they weren't. It's like playing Russian roulette with your laundry. Next time you're complaining about your washing machine eating your socks, just remember, at least it's not trying to eat your arm. Number 3. One for the road. In the 1960s, one for the road meant literally drinking while driving home. Bars served cocktails in special traveler cups designed for car cup holders. Some bars had drive-through windows where you could grab a fresh cocktail without leaving your car. The Cadillac Fleetwood had magnetic drinking glasses that stuck to the dashboard. People sipped martinis while cruising down the highway, kids in the back seat and all. If you got pulled over, cops usually just told you to drive carefully and sent you on your way. Unless you were literally falling over drunk, no one batted an eye. The attitude was, as long as you can find your car keys, you're good to drive. Some bars would even help you find your keys if you dropped them. The responsible drinkers would close one eye while driving to reduce double vision. That was considered a legitimate safety tip. Drunk driving wasn't even a specific crime until the late 1970s. It was treated like a minor traffic violation, like running a stop sign. Things only started to change when Candy Lightner lost her 13-year-old daughter to a drunk driver in 1980. The driver had multiple previous DUI arrests but was still on the road. Lightner formed MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Before MADD, about 25,000 people died each year in alcohol-related crashes. That's like a small city wiped out every year, and people just accepted it as normal. Number 2. Physical discipline. Schools didn't just have detention halls. They had entire rooms dedicated to physical punishment. Parents would sign permission slips for this. It wasn't just allowed, it was encouraged. Your grandparents probably remember the Board of Education, not a group of administrators. A wooden paddle with holes drilled in it for extra speed and sting. Teachers would keep these paddles in their desk drawers like we keep staplers today. Some even had cute nicknames for them, like the Attitude Adjuster or the Learning Aid. But it wasn't just schools. At home, physical discipline was seen as not just normal, but necessary. Parents would actually brag about their methods at neighborhood barbecues. Little Timmy acted up, so I had him go pick his own switch from the tree. Making kids choose their own instrument of punishment was a thing. Department stores used to sell special paddles designed for child correction. They'd be right there in the home goods section, between the cooking utensils and cleaning supplies. Kids would get punished twice for the same offense. Once at school, then again at home when their parents found out. It was like a punishment combo meal. If you complained, that just earned you another round. The standard response was, This hurts me more than it hurts you. People genuinely believed this was good parenting. They'd say things like, I was beaten as a kid and I turned out fine. Schools kept detailed records of their paddlings. Some principals had actual ledgers where they'd log each whack. Date, time, number of hits, reason, all documented like some twisted accounting book. Johnny talked in class, 3 swats. Sarah passed a note, 2 swats. It was basically a pain spreadsheet. Number 1. Malarial fever therapy. Imagine you've got syphilis in the 1920s. Your brain is slowly turning to mush. You're going insane. And doctors tell you the only way to save your life is to give you malaria. This was called malarial fever therapy, and it won someone a Nobel Prize. Doctors would take blood from someone with malaria and inject it right into your veins. Within days, you'd start getting massive fevers that would spike up to 106 degrees. Your body would feel like it's cooking from the inside out. They'd let you suffer through these fevers for weeks. The idea was that syphilis bacteria can't handle high temperatures. They were basically trying to cook the syphilis out of your brain. It's like trying to get rid of cockroaches by burning down your house. About 15% of patients didn't survive the treatment, but if you had advanced syphilis back then, you were dead anyway. So a 15% death rate actually wasn't that bad. The doctor who came up with this, Julius Wagner Jahreg, won the 1927 Nobel Prize in Medicine. The treatment worked about half the time. The other half, they either died from the malaria or ended up with both syphilis and malaria. This treatment was used until the 1940s when penicillin came along. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.